delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with my the colleague, the delegate from Roanoke City, about this bill. First of all, I want to say that in the description of the bill, the patron talked about how this bill would prevent anybody from boycotting Israel or the Jewish people, which the bill doesn't say. But what it does is it conflates Israel and the Jewish people, which the IRA definition you all just voted to endorse says is a form of anti-Semitism, right? You just conflated the two things. You said they were one and the same. And support for Israel and support for the Jewish people are one and the same thing, and they're often not, Mr. Speaker. And so I know we're not allowed or not supposed to, it's frowned upon to question people's intentions when they bring bills. I know we have some delegates on the other side that don't like it when we do that, but it's hard not to wonder what is behind some of these bills that are coming up and why they'd be passed without, again, talking to some of us on the other side who are Jewish and who are impacted. You know, let me start also by saying my two kids spent their high school semesters in Israel. I spent a semester in Israel. I chaperoned 3, 4, 5 youth trips with my synagogue, taking kids to Israel. I travel there. I spend money there. I don't boycott it. I don't support a boycott of it. I think people ought to go there and spend money. But I don't support a bill that says that we in Virginia won't do business with businesses that won't do business with somebody who boycotts Israel, which if you start reading through on the fine print is sort of what this says. That's how many layers of we're not going to do this there are in this bill. Because people are free to disagree. And boycotts, frankly, are an important form of protest, right? I don't know that we would have gotten the Civil Rights Act the way through if it weren't for boycotts and people using their economic power to say, hey, this is something I feel strongly about, and I'm going to exercise not just my speech, but my spending power. And I decide what I spend my money on, where I spend my money, who I spend it on. It's got to reflect my values. Even if they're values I disagree with, people ought to be free to do that. We ought not be trying to stop them from doing that in contracting first. Second of all, we're the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Virginia. This is a foreign relations matter. It's an area that we really ought not be getting involved at all. This is not something for us to solve or try to solve here. And then finally, I'll say, Mr. Speaker, that not only have states and localities that have tried this tactic failed in court on First Amendment challenges, but they actually usually go further, right? And that's why I think particularly folks on this side of the aisle, I'd be really cautious about going down this road, because then you start to try and use your state's economic power to punish companies that boycott other things, like want to try and divest and not do business in the fossil fuel industry. You've got a corporate ethic that says, hey, we want to use clean energy, and we want to go to a carbon neutral. Well, no, we're not going to do business with those companies that want to have a carbon neutral goal because it hurts the fossil fuel industry. And they start to use it for all kinds of causes and to try and keep private companies and private corporations from freely deciding how and where and when to spend their money. And the state shouldn't be in the business of penalizing that kind of behavior, that kind of protest. It's a slippery slope down which we shouldn't go. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to stand alongside my fellow delegate from Roanoke City in opposing this bill. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body not to engross it and pass it to its third reading.
Shall the bill be engrossed and passed